Hey, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do a series of videos on popular questions that I receive both in my social media DMs and on my charters. So there's a lot of questions that you guys have, and I try to answer them individually, but I feel like I'm missing out. There's a lot more people I can impact and touch, and I'm going to do it with a video series. So one of the popular questions that I'm getting, and since I've been doing some offshore fishing, is what is the best offshore fishing rod and reel for beginners or people in general? So we're going to talk about that today. But before we do, for every like that I get, I'm going to donate 1 cent to Tampa Bay Watch. So if you really want to help participate, help the channel grow, and show that you appreciate the content, give a thumbs up, and you're also going to be donating to a good cause every time you do. So we appreciate that very much. But without further ado, let's jump in and talk about the best offshore fishing rod and reel and what you need to be successful. A lot of people have the misconception that you need very large gear when going offshore in the Gulf of Mexico to catch fish. Well, what I have found over the years is less is more. And this is especially true with fishing. And that applies to everything, both inshore, offshore, even freshwater fishing. I try to use as little hardware, as light a gear as possible, and I find that I'm much more successful when I do that. So one of my most popular offshore rigs is actually probably going to surprise you. Right now, it's this setup here. What we have in front of us is the Okuma Cedros 4000. This is spooled with 15 or 20 pound Test Power Pro braid. And then I have a 7-foot medium heavy SRT Inshore Premier by Okuma Fishing. Now, if you guys have followed me on any social media, whether it be TikTok or Instagram, I'll leave the profiles down below. You'll know that I post a lot of shorts really flexing this outfit. And I'm telling you, with the drag that it has, 22 plus pounds of drag on this little 4000 reel, and then the backbone and sensitivity of this rod, when you equip the two, you have a deadly combination that's going to catch a lot of different species offshore. Now, what do I catch with this particular outfit? I catch large grouper. I'm talking 30 plus inch grouper all the time on this setup. One impressive fact that I'll tell you, I've been using this rod for over 3 years and I've never broken it. And I'm not kidding when I tell you, I've flexed this rod, I've high stick this rod, I've done everything you probably shouldn't with this rod, and I have not been able to break the fishing rod yet. So kudos to Okuma for really making an awesome outfit, especially considering this is a $100 setup. I mean, $100 guys is very minimal in today's world of fishing stuff. Everything's super expensive. So this is an affordable rod that really can be flexed. Now, this setup is what I usually use offshore, and what I'm going to primarily be using it for is hogfish, snapper, grouper, of course. We have the grunts, porgies, a lot of the different species, your mangrove, lane snapper, all can be caught on this 4000 series rod. Now, I'm not going to go over too much of how to rig anything on this particular episode. If you want more of that, let me know below, or perhaps you have your own question that you want me to do a video for this series. Comment below your question and maybe I could do something for you. Now, I'm going to show you the next setup. I'm going to show you 2 primary rods with a third one being a great rod and reel that's going to allow you to catch anything in the Gulf. All right, so we talked about the rod and reel that I use primarily offshore when I'm bottom fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, you're going to need a little bigger setup. There are a lot larger grouper and larger red snapper and larger mangrove snapper among kingfish for your pelagics, wahoo, dolphin, things like that. The next setup that I'm going to recommend is like a 6,000 to 8,000 series Tesoro's reel. This thing has so much drag, it's ridiculous. You equip that with a good 40 to 60 pound braid and then a nice 8-foot stout rod. I mean, this right here, I mean, you could go 7 foot. This is the PCH Custom. I love this rod because I can use it for my shore fishing, but I can also go offshore and be very, very productive with it. Now, if you want an awesome rod that can catch the big grouper, can catch the big snapper, and really put the brakes on them, this is going to be the setup. And for beginners, I find that spinning reels are definitely the way to go. You're going to be able to cast them better and easier. The drags are very user friendly. And if you need a tutorial on how to use, maybe you're just starting fishing, on how to use a spinning rod, check out this this little link here up above in the right corner, and you'll be able to see how to cast the spinning reel for beginners. It's very, very simple. But anyways, this setup is stout. It's going to work for a ton of different fish, big fish. You can even catch sails and everything on this particular outfit, tarpon, so forth. So make sure you add in you a nice large spinning rod and spinning reel. And again, this is, just so you know, I think a 30 to 60 pound class. Let me double check. Yeah, so this is actually a 15 to 30 pound class, but I also have one that's a little larger. But this rod here, I find that I'm using a lot offshore. So there's one more that I want to show you. Now this is not necessarily for beginners, but it's one that as you continue to fish offshore, you're going to want to up the gear just that, a little bit more, and the conventional gear is the way to go. Let me show you. Hey, so again, not for beginners, so to speak, but one that you should definitely have in your offshore arsenal is a nice conventional reel. I highly, highly, highly recommend the Makaira reels. This is a Makaira 10. You want to talk about more drag, more line than you know what to do with. All of the Makaira reels are Okuma's premium line of reels, and I've never broken one. They have the best internal components, just a really, really strong rod and reel. Now again, this is the PCH 7'6", 20 to 50 pound rod. You're going to do everything with this. You could troll with this, you could flatline with this, you could catch grouper, bottom fish, winch them up. It's got 2 speeds. You click the reel, or you click the button, and you can reel at a low gear, or you can unclick the button and reel at the higher speed, which is great for your pelagics and things like that. But the versatility of a conventional reel is why it's so effective. And again, it's just a workhorse and a winch. So if you really want to crank them up, this is the setup that I'm going to recommend that you try. Now it will take a little getting used to with the conventional setup, similar to a bait caster if you're familiar with that. But once you get the hang of it, and when you're not necessarily typically casting these type of reels when you're offshore, it's a vertical drop. So all you do is you open, you disengage the lever, and then you just allow the bait to descend down, so you barely thumb the spool, and typically you're not going to get, bird's nests and things like that. So it's not quite like a bait caster when you're deploying your baits, but it's very, very effective for big fish offshore. So if this video helped you, make sure you give that thumbs up. Again, you're donating to Tampa Bay Watch and you're helping the channel grow. Make sure you subscribe and comment below what is a question that you have that you want me to do in the video series. Until next time, guys, I'll see you on the water.